Agenda of the regular board meeting, President Board of Trustees of Village of Burnham, Cook County, Illinois. And today is January 8, 2019. At this time, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Trustee Cap?
Here.
Trustee Bonner?
Present.
Trustee Garcia? Absent. Trustee Greer?
Here.
Trustee Richardson?
Here.
Trustee Claybrook?
Here. Thank you. Quorum is present. Could we stand for the pledge of allegiance? Could you lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any approval or corrections of the minutes that was held on the board meeting, December 11th, 2018? Is there any correction for the minute?
Regarding the last meeting, the adjournment.
Well, at the last meeting, the meeting was adjourned by myself. Gavel closing. That would not be our normal procedure of the meeting, so I just want to make that known. So if there are no corrections to be made, I will ask for a motion to close the meeting. To approve the meeting, I'm sorry. To approve the minutes. To approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
There's a motion by Trustee Claybrook. We need a second, please.
I'll second.
Second by Trustee Cap. Will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Yes.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Minutes approved. If anyone in the public have anything to state, if you would stand up and give us your name and your reason for addressing the board, and I'll get to you later. Before we open the meeting to the public, so at this time I will ask for a motion to open the meeting to the public.
I make a motion to open the meeting to the public.
There's a motion on the floor by Trustee Richardson. Will we have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Trustee Claybrook. Will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Yes.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed for open session, so are there any comments from the public?
Yes. I asked about the
Excuse me, can you state your name,
mirror on the
please?
post in the alley back there behind
Your name, please?
Can you state
me. My
your
name is Harry Yates. I live at 145 26th Bend.
Thank you, Mr. Yates.
I asked about something in that tea alley there, over there by my house. Nobody said anything, nobody did nothing.
And what was it that you asked about?
They got big mirrors.
Well, I think we did kind of respond. I think,
Who you talk to about it? You said nothing to me about it. Who you talk to about
I think I had mentioned during the meeting that,
it? Maybe I wasn't here.
sometime that we would have to take a strong look at that, because sometimes.
How long
items
it
like-
take? How long it take you to look at it?
No, but I'm saying items like that sometimes could cause a bad reflection on someone else. Someone else could be driving through the alley and they could say, well, the light blinded me and it caused me to have an accident.
Not a light, it's a mirror.
Well, a mirror, that's what I mean. So the reflection from the sun could be detriment to someone in some fashion, so, but it's still under review, so thanks for bringing it up again.
Okay, the water meter, I hadn't been here for a minute, maybe it's been brought up. Our water bill went up. When are we gonna get, the new meters?
Well, again, the EPA has to evaluate everything that we send them, and they keep sending this back, they want this, they want the other, so I believe we have given them the things that they want now, so hopefully, they'll be giving some confirmation pretty soon, and as soon as we get that information, we'll give it to the public.
Okay, cause, if the water meter, if the water bill, the water that went up, we need how much of that. That's supposed to be in my house. I think it should be. Thank you.
And we'll do our best.
You ain't doing enough.
We'll do our best. If it was within, if it was within my authority, it would have been done already. And if I had $1 million spare, then I wouldn't have bothered you. Then I would give it. Unfortunately, we don't have that. Is there anything else? Any other comments? I would ask for a motion to close the meeting to the public.
I make a motion to close the meeting to the public.
There's a motion on the floor by trustee Claybrook. Can we get a second, please?
Second.
A second by trustee Richardson. Clerk, take the roll.
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Yes.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
Well, the meeting is now closed to the public. Thank you for your comments. And again, welcome to all, welcome everyone back, and I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone. And we will have some discussion tonight on the complete street policy. We have some representatives here. We'll discuss that. And also, oh no, I'll do that later. Never mind. All right, yes, sir.
Hi.
Good evening.
So my name is Leslie Feemister, and I'm with South Suburban Mayors and Managers. We represent 43 municipalities in the south suburbs, and we bring everyone together as a group to help improve housing and transportation and all sorts of things. So I'm the transportation planner for them, so that's sort of my area of expertise. So housing, I might not know all the answers to that one, but I can definitely help with this. So I assisted the village in developing a policy for complete streets. And I imagine that you're probably thinking, what are complete streets, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a presentation on what that means. Let me get this opened up, and I'm going to try not to be in everyone's way. Try. So,
Yeah.
so right, what are complete streets? Can anybody tell me where the pedestrian is in this picture?
In the middle.
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh,
So-
red pen.
So you can tell this is an old picture, right? By the signs and the cars and the type of ways that people are dressed. So what complete streets are is it's a commitment to be able to create safe roadways for all types of users. So in this picture, you can see that cars are definitely being represented, and that's the way that most roads are built. So we want to build roads so that everybody is represented, all modes, all users. So you can see there's no sidewalks. This poor gentleman is trying to find any space he can to be able to cross the street safely, and so that's what complete streets is. They can be crossed safely, so there are things like crosswalks. So if you look at these pictures, you can see what the pedestrian sees and that there's a crosswalk there, and what the driver sees, and how you really can't tell that there actually is a crosswalk and that they should be stopping for that pedestrian. So it's making the infrastructure better and safer for all users. They can also be safely traveled alongside, so being able to get from point A to point B. If you're taking a bus, you're a pedestrian from the time you get off the bus till the time you get back on the bus, right? So we want to make sure that there's access to all those bus stops in all types of weather. They can also be safely traveled upon by cars. So there's different things you can do with roadways to make it safer, to reduce crashes, and to just, have cars drive slower and make it safer for everybody along the roadway. And they can be used by all types of people and all modes. So we want to make sure that whether it's a mother with her children, or children going to school, or someone in a wheelchair, or somebody who just wants to go for a walk and is healthy and active, to get out there and be able to use all the roadways. So basically, Complete Streets is a commitment from a jurisdiction for all future road projects. So IDOT has a Complete Streets policy, Cook County has a Complete Streets policy, and so we want to make sure that all the communities are being represented whenever we're being doing certain types of, or not in, all types of road projects. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why people want complete streets. I'm going to go through each one of these in a little bit more detail, except for the last one. I'm sure you can all figure out how walking and biking can be fun, right? I hope. So they increase safety. In this picture, you can see that there's what we call bump outs, and really it's narrowing the roadway at the intersection. So it's making that crosswalk shorter, and it's making cars drive slower, because it's making the road the width for what the speed limit is. We don't want to create roadways that are very large and people just speed through. And obviously when people are driving slower, that's going to decrease deaths and the severity of the crashes. And it's also, if you put in a bike lane or signage, it's not so much going to protect a cyclist, but it will bring awareness that they're going to be there. Cars are more likely to watch out for them. They also make economic sense, so obviously people who are walking and biking aren't paying for gas or parking, so that's one way they can save money. They also increase property values, so if you have a house that's adjacent to a trail, property value goes up $4,000 to $34,000. That's huge, right? And they obviously help local businesses, because if people are walking and biking, they're keeping their money local, they're not getting in their car, going far away, but they also tend to spend more money, because as they're walking past a store, they can see that item in the window, just like the pack of gum at the grocery store that you want to pick up. You're more likely to stop and go into that store if you're walking and biking than if you're driving by at 30 miles an hour. And obviously, schools will have less congestion if there are less cars driving to and from them. And so it'll also make walking and biking more accessible for those kids. It's also for all, obviously, users. Not everyone wants to retire and get in a golf cart and live in Florida and drive that around. Some people want to stay in the home that they've been in their entire lives. And so making it easier for people to be able to get to and from, once they can't drive anymore, to doctor's appointments or the grocery store. So seniors who don't drive make 65% fewer trips because they want to, they don't want to have to depend on someone for all of those trips. When they do, they make sure that they're squeezing them all in. And then people with disabilities, they tend to lack transportation options. So Complete Streets helps with that. And in the next 20 years, we're going to have the largest population ever of people who don't drive. So we have to start now, sort of creating those roadways so people can stay in the homes that they've been in. They also help improve land use. So if you are building new development, you can decide as a board how you'd like things to go in. So you can see these two different Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings still got all those sort of things that they require when they have one of their restaurants come in, but one of them, it's right up to the street. People can be able to look in and walk in, maybe see a game on and go in and get a drink. And the one on the bottom makes it a little more difficult to get from the sidewalk to the front door. You have to cross through a very large parking lot, be able to meander through a lot of cars that are backing up and doing all sorts of other things. So a lot of people ask me why do we want complete streets? And some people say, well, we don't need complete streets, everybody drives, right? So I think this picture, that gentleman on top there, it'd be a little difficult to get across to the sidewalk on the other side without a curb ramp. And I don't think that this young lady on the bottom would be putting her children in that position if she had another choice, right? So not everyone, some people are one-car families, other people just want to go out and be able to ride their bike. Some people can't drive, so we want to make sure that we're accommodating for everybody. And not everyone drives, right? So some people also say complete streets means putting bike lanes and sidewalks on every street, and it does not mean that. So this picture in the middle, in the beautiful fall, that's a complete street too, because it's a local road, it's low speed, it's low traffic, you can walk in the middle of the street. There doesn't have to be sidewalks, there doesn't have to be bike lanes. We just want to make sure that we're being able to give people a space to be. And you want to choose the type of facility with the type of roadway that it is. So Complete Streets is building from the outside in. You look at what the land use is around the road, and then you go from there and build the street towards the inside. So some people also say Complete Streets facilities add a large cost to roadway projects. So this is the same roadway. It was resurfaced and going from 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, to a center turn lane, 2 through lanes, bike lanes. Now the sidewalks were already there. People that in the before picture, if they were walking on the sidewalk, they were right next to the roadway, cars were zooming right past them. Putting that bike lane in there gives them a buffer from that super fast traffic. And this also reduces crashes because the picture on the left, there's a lot of rear end and side swipes with all of those with all of those left-hand turns, and I'm sure the police department knows about that. And so this sort of gets that traffic out of the way, and traffic actually moves smoother when you do one of these. And so they're calling this road right sizing. But it didn't add a lot of cost, back to my point here. So you can see that they just added a couple more stripes of paint, and this was happening when the road was being resurfaced. They didn't go out and tear up the road, just when they were already doing this road project, they changed the lane configuration. So I'm gonna give you a local example here. People say, you know, we need to reconstruct all of our roadways right now, and that is not the case also. It means when a project is being done, that's when this happens. So this is New Street in Blue Island. It's a one-way street, and as you can see, the picture on the left, they desperately needed to repave that roadway. So when they did, they knew that large brick building on the left is a school, and they knew that there was a lot of traffic there and that people were driving really fast because the roadway was really wide. So the picture on the right is the after, and they did back-in angled parking, and then they did parallel parking on the other side. So it was parallel parking on both sides, so they got additional parking by doing this. They also narrowed the roadway so people drove slower past the school. Now that back-in angled parking, when you open the car doors here, the kids just go right out to the sidewalk. So they don't have to worry about going around that car door and sort of going into traffic to be able to get to the sidewalk. It leads them right where they need to go. People, of course, had a little bit of issues with it at first, and there was a lot of questions about how it worked, but it's been in for a couple of years now, and everybody knows how to do it, and it's working great. People are driving slower, and the increased parking is helping them. So Complete Streets has 10 elements. I'm not going to go through all of these in a lot of detail because we'd be here for quite some time. So I'm just going to give you the highlights of the Burnham policy. One of them is working with all roads and all agencies. So this is not just for your own roads, but when IDOT or Cook County comes through and says they're going to redo the roadway, Burnham then gets to say, this is how we want this. So before, IDOT would be, no, it's our road. But when you have a Complete Streets policy, it gives you that opportunity to be able to say, this is our community, we've adopted a policy, we've said what we want in this, and it gives you that opportunity. So you want to make sure that you're working with not only IDOT and Cook County, but even your neighboring communities in the city of Chicago or Calumet City, so that we can make sure that all roadways connect, and that it's safe for not just residents, but also neighbors. So, yes.
So it also include the utilities, because we have a lot of excavation from NICOR and
Absolutely.
They are digging up different issues, digging up sidewalks in some areas and not putting them up back, so it also would help with that as well.
Absolutely. So, right, if NICOR comes and digs up a sidewalk, they are required to put that back, and a Complete Streets policy will help in that matter. It's going to be a sort of enforcement of being able to follow through with those.
Yes.
So this is another local example. Calumet Park, a couple years ago, there was a big windstorm, and I believe it's on 127th and Ashland. One of the light poles fell down along with the gas station canopy, right? I'm sure you guys remember that because it was a little crazy. But Calumet Park had a Complete Streets policy, and this isn't that pole, but that's what it looked like. On the IDOT road, the pole was right in the middle of the sidewalk. And so because the pole got knocked out and IDOT had to go through and the utilities had to go through, this was their opportunity to move it out of the sidewalk. And it made it be able to access for, a mother with a stroller or a person in a wheelchair. So it was better, and it gave them that opportunity to utilize when things were happening to be able to move them. Whoops, wrong way, sorry. So this isn't a local example, but lighting is another way to be able to, so this picture on the left, it's a big street, the sidewalks are great, but the lighting looks like it's on an expressway. So we don't want that, right? If people are walking and biking in our neighborhoods, we want them to be able to feel safe and well lit, and so it would be including pedestrian lighting and with something like that as well. This is in Blue Island. They have a Complete Streets policy, and on 127th near Eisenhower High School, there were no sidewalks, and kids were walking for decades without them to get to school. And so once they got that Complete Streets policy in, they got IDOT to be able to put these in. And so now kids are being able to walk and bike much more safely to get to high school, because they obviously don't want to be driven by their parents, right, for high schoolers. So Complete Streets does a lot of different things for communities, and it's my personal opinion, a great policy that's going on here. I'm happy to answer any questions, and this is my contact information if you'd like to get in touch with me.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, my question is this, I don't know if you have to do with it or not, but some streets, one happen to be Sibley Boulevard, that they have the lights coordinated where might could go from this area all the way over to Dixie Highway, and you'll make 90% of the lights, and they just almost any time of it, but somebody I think does that. Whereas some other streets you might miss them regularly, but I'm not talking about speed, this and that, but you may miss them. And so I was wondering if you have anything, or your people have anything to do with who drives around to see, well, how is the traffic flowing, and flowing smoothly. Now, it's another area, happened to be 75th and Stony Island, and they have a turning arrow that comes on for maybe 2 seconds, or 3. And I think it should be on at least 7 or 8 seconds. And I'm trying to see, well, because people get caught up in the middle of that area, and I'm trying to see, well, whose job is it to try to see, well, that arrow should be on at least 3-4 more seconds, and it comes on for 2 seconds, and then 2 cars and 1 car can get through, and then you have these other cars in the middle, and it causes congestion. So
Sure.
Who does that?
2 different people for both of those projects, and that's sort of where that working with all agencies comes in. So Sibley is an IDOT roadway, and IDOT, they very much want to move cars. That is what their intention is, and what it has been for many years. And so that's what this policy is about. It's slowing people down. It's about Burnham or Calumet City deciding what's going to happen in their community. Stony Island would be CDOT, because that's the city of Chicago. So I work in the south suburbs only. I don't have a super lot of knowledge about the city of Chicago and their goings on, but I know that they do have a complaint line, and that you could, I'm not sure what it is, but I know that they have one.
Okay, I will thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Leslie, I got one more question for you.
Yes, sir.
Now, we'll take one other question, because the meeting is actually closed to the public, but go ahead, we'll take this last one.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you're gonna consider configuration of some of the streets, perhaps changing the 2-ways into a 1-way, because some of the streets are really too narrow to become 2-way streets, and these become a problem area, particularly in the wintertime.
So this policy isn't here for me to dictate sort of how a street should be done, but if that was something that was, of interest to someone in the community, you would have to come to the village and let them know that this is something you wanted, and I'm sure that there's a process for that. I'm not exactly sure what it is here in
That's what I'm
Burnham.
getting at now, yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you very
question.
much. It's certainly been a pleasure working with you and Trustee K-Buck, and I came to the meeting, so we certainly appreciate other governmental bodies working with the village, moving us forward and bringing information and enhancing us. And again, we certainly appreciate that. Thank you.
My pleasure.
This time we will hear a report from the clerk.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to inform everyone that our clerk's office will be closed on Monday, January 21st, for Martin Luther King birthday. And also, I can't stress enough that it's very important that the residents provide us with an actual reading, so then they're actually billed for what they actually use. We've come across with a lot of discrepancies with the residents, like not being able to read the numbers correctly, and then there's questions regarding the usage. So we're asking that if the residents either make an appointment with the water department to have it read, and then they'll, can take a picture, or the resident can actually take a picture so that we can actually see what the meter is reading.
And sometimes the residents come to the meeting here complaining about what the village is not doing and doing this, but when it comes down to them, then they don't want to cooperate with us getting the reading, so they exempt from the rules. They're here in these meetings from time to time, so we need everyone's cooperation on such a matter. Public education, health, safety, welfare, so.
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Burnham Fire and Medical Report for the month of December 2018. Fire calls, there were a total of 18, 12 during the day and 6 during the night. Ambulance calls, 34, they were very busy. During the day, there were 14, and they had 20 night calls. That was reported for December 2018. And I'd like to say Happy New Year from our family to yours. And make a promise today to make every moment count. Stop and smell the roses, the flowers, to enjoy life. Simple pleasures, be good to yourself. Life is beautiful, it's what you make of it. Again, Happy New Year to you. This is the 18th day of the government shutdown. Negotiations to reopen about a quarter of the government has been frozen for more than 2 weeks. Tonight, as you know, President Trump will give a prime time address where he'll make his case for border wall funding. I believe that's at 8 o'clock. There will be an increase in Social Security benefits for the new year of 2019. Live dancing will continue January 26, 2019, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Live dance is an excellent form of aerobic exercise. The IRS has been instructed to continue with the IRS tax refunds. A lot of people were wondering, because of the shutdown, will they be getting their refunds? Yes, again, they have been instructed to continue with the tax refunds starting January the 28th, 2019. And again, there's a new book, this is my last thing. There's a new book that is released. It's called Undo It. It's by Dr. Ornish and his wife, Ann. And it deals with stress. If we don't deal with stress, stress will deal with us. People that are lonely and frustrated will die faster than any other group of people. Positive motivation can reverse the effects of heart disease, prostate cancer, and also the effects of diabetes. So you can change your health with lifestyle changes. Connect with people in your life and enjoy whatever activities you like to do, and do them more. It's a good health alert and a positive motivation. So if you get a chance, get the book. It's called Undo It by Dr. Ornish and his wife, Ann. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for that report and your information. Public Works and Building, Trustee Claybrook.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, prosperous New Year. And Public Works, they've been out grading the alleys, also doing general cleaning around the village. And also we've been blessed with a mild winter so far, and as far as the snowfall is concerned, so saving money on salt. We haven't used, I think we only had to use salt once this entire winter, and hopefully it'll stay mild. That's all I have.
Further cleanup goes, please, if there's any litter on your pathway in front of your house, on the curb, if you would pick it up, we would grossly appreciate that, greatly appreciate it, so thank you.
Yes.
Ordinance resolution and plan, and Trustee Garcia is not here, so Trustee Bond, would you take the first 2 items now, please?
Yes. Discussion of, consideration of, and taking action to pass or not pass on resolution number 2019-R-001, a resolution amending the adopted policy prohibiting sexual harassment for the village of Burnham, Cook County, state of Illinois.
Attorney, would you give us a brief synopsis on that and how the state has amended the new law?
Approximately a year ago, we passed a resolution adopting a sexual harassment policy. That policy was dictated by the state, Illinois, provided for a 90-day window within which someone could complain about any type of sexual harassment. The state amended their state policy and sent out notices that they wanted the various villages to amend their policies as well. The policy now is being amended so that the individual who is grieved may have 300 days rather than 90. They expanded the length of time within which somebody can make a complaint to 300 days, and that's what we're doing. We're making a couple changes, just tweaking our policy to be consistent with the state.
Thank you.
Any trustees have any questions?
Proceed, trustee.
I make a motion to pass resolution number 2019-R-001, resolution amending the adopted policy prohibiting sexual harassment for the village of Burnham.
There's a motion on the floor by trustee Burnham, is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Cap, clerk take the roll.
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Yes.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
The motion passed, thank you, proceed, trustee.
Discussion of, consideration of, and taking action to pass or not pass on resolution number 2019-R-002, a resolution establishing a complete streets and green infrastructure policy for the village of Burnham, Cook County, state of Illinois.
So you're making a motion? There's a motion on the floor by trustee Bonner, we need a second to
Second.
pass the street policy resolution. Second by trustee Claybrook, will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Yes.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, motion passed. All right, Lester, that's it. Thank you, trustee Bonner. Trustee Cap, would you mind taking number 3?
Discussion of, consideration of, and taking action on resolution number 2019-R-003, supporting a proposed Class 8 classification for 2627 East 139th Street, Burnham, Cook County, Illinois. Permanent index numbers 30-06-102-010, 30-06-102-011, 30-06-102-021, 30-06-102-022, 30-06-102-023, 30-06-102-024, 30-06-102-025, 30-06-102-026, 30-06-102-027, 30-06-102-028, and 30-06-102-029.
Okay, before you make your motion, trustee attorney, would you stand up and address the board and explain to the body as to how this is beneficial to the village and exactly what's going on?
This is the first of resolution that's coming down for Mr. Biltz. Mr. Biltz has requested this classification so that he will be able to expand his buildings and structures within the area that's commonly known as Mr. Biltz. There's some buildings there raked with the taxes. He'll increase his square footage on a couple of the buildings by 40%. This will bring construction within the village. It'll also bring more jobs in the village. He's redeveloping, he's investing the money in the village rather than taking it somewhere else. And he's, if I could remind the trustees that he's a multi-state company. I think he's in about 30 or 38 different states in the country.
And his headquarters here in Burnham.
His headquarters, national headquarters is here in Burnham. So the gentleman who, Mr. Rock, who's his, one of his administrative assistants, would be here tonight, but he asked to be excused because it's his wife's birthday and he had to take care of business. So,
I told him I didn't care if he got put out.
yeah, I said, rule number 1 is when the queen is happy, there's peace in the kingdom.
Right.
Take care. But this, he's going to be developing and expanding, so this is part of what he's requesting.
Any question from the board on this?
Yes, so, thank you. So this is about 10 PIN numbers. And how many PINs does he currently occupy at this time?
Probably about 50 to 60.
50 to 60?
Yeah.
So would the tax break be only on the additional 10?
Yes. I mean, on part of his, all the property in there he has within his confine. and this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to expand these buildings. They would be within this particular parcel here, only affects, I think, 8 or 9 or 10 pen numbers. That affects,
I
this
think
one,
the building will be
affects one
spending out
building.
40 feet, I believe.
I'm sorry?
But I believe the building will be spending out 40 feet to the east.
Yeah, it's gonna be expanded to 100 feet by 270 feet. So, it's presently right now 60 feet by 270 feet. He wants to go in one direction and an additional 40 feet to the east of the building.
And what's the use of this property that's being expanded?
He has a trucking company. I don't know exactly what he does inside there. I know servicing, maintaining, and conducting his business with it.
And how long has he been established in Burnham?
I've been here 40 some odd years, and I think he came, was in a few years after that, if I'm not mistaken. I think he came in 1978.
So over 30 years?
Yeah, he's been here.
And so this is a private company that's private land, no use to the public at all?
Yes, you're right, absolutely right. That's a good way of describing it, because it's all within his compound. I call it compound, it's not very fair, but no one else goes in there. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, see, trustee Cap.
So I'll make a motion to pass resolution number 2019-R-003, supporting a proposed Class 8 classification for 2627 East 139th Street, Burnham, Illinois. Burnham, Cook County, Illinois. Permanent index numbers, I'm going to abbreviate these a little bit. 30-06-102-10, 11, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by trustee Cap to approve this resolution. Could we have a second, please?
A second.
Second by trustee Claybrook. Will the clerk take the
Discussion,
vote?
please.
Sure.
So what qualifies an existing business to request a Class 8 classification for an established business?
Well, if they want to expand and put on like a new addition, then that new addition would qualify, or could qualify for Class 8. They cannot get a Class 8 on the existing building that's already there, only the new development that's being added. The expansion, they would qualify.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Well, considering that the business has been there for 30 years and there's already an established structure there that's no access to the public whatsoever, no.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
I think the motion passed, and I would just like to say again that this is a positive development for the village of Burnham, and it will bring some additional jobs here, but of course, everyone has a choice to support it or not support it, so I thank you for your support and for passing, so thank you.
And I'd also like to add that we went up on the property taxes for the residents. We went up on the water bill for the residents.
We did
But
that.
we always give the businesses a break, especially a business that's been here for over 30 years.
It's not the point of giving the business a break. In order for a business to do any type of new development in Cook County, if they do not get a Class 8, they will not invest, they will not expand, and they will not bring any new jobs to your community, period. Period. And that is indisputable.
What's the tax rate, like 38% or something, right, if they don't get a break?
Yes.
It's 38, right? Is it? Yeah.
So, but anyway, we'll go ahead.
Thank you.
Finance, trustee Cap.
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Oh, good evening.
Discussion of, consideration of, and taking action on the approval of the insurance quote of IPRF Company in the total premium amount of $94,327 with a monthly payment of $7,861 for workers' compensation that includes an administrative fee of 3%, which is $2,747, with Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, Inc., and the authorization of the village clerk to sign said renewal. Questions, anything?
Any questions on that from the board? Okay, proceed.
So I'll make a motion to approve the insurance quote of IPRF Company in the total premium amount of $94,327 with a monthly payment of $7,861 for workman's compensation that includes an administrative fee of 3%, which is $2,747 with the Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, Inc., and the authorization of the village clerk to sign said renewal.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by trustee Cap to approve the IPRF insurance premium. We need a second on that, please.
Second.
Second by trustee Richardson, will clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Yes.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
The motion passed, thank you. Proceed, trustee Cap.
Okay, so I have more insurance quotes here. Discussion of, consideration of, and taking action on the Village of Burnham insurance liability renewals, which cost $230,626, of which a deposit of $36,370.40 is required at the time of renewal, leaving the remaining balance of $194,255.60 to be placed on the commercial premium finance agreement that is financed with the first insurance funding at a rate of 5.070% for 10 monthly payments of $19,879.82, and on the authorization of the village clerk to sign said insurance renewal agreement. So the first company that makes up the amount is the Hudson Insurance Company. That's property, crime, inland marine, and general automotive. That's $49,509. The second one is QBE Specialty Insurance, which is for law enforcement. That's $45,032. Stratford Insurance is public officials /DNO and /EPLI. I don't know what DNO is. I don't know what that abbreviation stands for.
This is the first I hear of it.
Okay, so that's $53,723. Allied World National is excess liability, which is $52,611. The Markel American Insurance is excess liability. That's $26,775. Allied World Assurance is cyber liability. That's $2,976. And the total is $230,626.
Any questions from the board on that?
Yes. For the Stratford Insurance, the public officials, the premium is $53,000. What's the data on the risk for that, for public officials, that public officials need that type of liability insurance?
What's the amount that's needed to cover?
No, what doesn't cover, I think it was the question.
What's the data, the statistics that public officials need that type of coverage for liability?
Well, probably, I would have, let's see, for the treasurer, like $3,000, right?
That's a bond.
That's a bond.
This amount for $53,000, that's high for elected public officials. Whereas we don't really,
So,
I would think that we would be exempt from personal liability upon, as board members.
according to the explanation, it says Stanford writes your public official coverage. This covers any elected official in case the board, the clerk, or the mayor is sued.
I understand.
So that would be the reason.
What's the data as far as why do we need this type of coverage for $50,000?
No, that's the premium. That's not the coverage.
Right, I understand, that's the premium. That's what it's costing us, $50,000.
Correct.
So that we're covered from liability.
Correct.
Right, what's the data that says that this is needed, that this is substantial, that this is going to be put in good use?
Well, I don't think it's so much, saying it's needed. I think it's just a sense of protection, to have it there in the event. Because, a lot of times people, they try to come up and sue you to get free money for nothing. Like we've had that several times. People that's freeloading and they're a burden on the village. And that has happened more than once. So I think it's just a safety net of protection. It's just like having insurance on your car, whether you ever have an accident or not, so you need the
Do
insurance.
you know what those
I can find out.
abbreviations stand
I
for?
can find out.
Do you know what the abbreviation is? No, you don't know what the abbreviation?
No,
You don't know,
I don't.
Stanley, no? Do you know what the abbreviations stand for in the description?
I'm sorry, the what?
Do you know what the abbreviations stand for in the
Which
description?
abbreviation?
The first one is DNO in insurance, what would that be for?
I don't know what they're talking about.
Andy, you don't know, have you idea?
I do know this village, public officials have been sued in the past.
And then the other one is
Probably sued again in the
EPLI,
future.
I have no
If
idea,
they- and I
that's
don't
some kind of
think they're just-
liability, right?
Pardon
Well,
me?
it's probably, the second one is some kind of liability,
Right, well, when the officers.
probably elected
It
something.
stands for directors and officers.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And I would think that individuals could purchase their own errors and omission or some type of insurance on their own if they needed some type of liability coverage.
No, there's
So
some
you'd be
state
willing to get your
statutes
own?
that
Yeah,
say.
it's all,
You would be
it's,
willing to get your own insurance?
Well, as a nurse, I have to have errors and omission insurance.
But I
That's-
mean, that pertains to the village.
Okay, so how many villages pay $50,000 to cover their public officials?
I can ask her, the insurance broker, and there must be history in order to have gotten to this point. So I will
In the
ask
past
her.
12 years, how many board members have been sued?
Again, I'd have to get that
We haven't
information.
had any, so,
The board members?
no.
So then why do we need this insurance for $50,000?
Well,
This is a
that's-
big piece of change.
it's probably a state statute.
But the question, how many accidents have you had that you got insurance on your car, right?
It's different.
Well, it's the same
What's
thing.
the
It's-
likelihood?
It's the same procedure though.
Okay, I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna go
It's
through,
not hard, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna go through and make the motion and we could, because it needs to be approved because it's the start of the year, so we
Right,
need to
so-
get,
But, I think we're talking about, it looks like a large sum of money, but we're talking about a number of people, not just one that, a number of people, so that's why that seems a little high.
so it's including directors and
Directors
officers
and
in the
officers.
village.
Right, exactly.
It would be nice if we could cancel everybody's insurance, but we can't do that, we gotta protect our people, so.
I'm not talking about everybody, I'm talking about the board.
I know what you
But
mean.
Why
it's
does
just
the
not the
board
board,
need
it's just not the board, it's also other employees.
But I'm specifically talking about the board, this is
Look-
public
Yeah,
officials.
and directors and officers, which are probably all the department heads,
Right.
the employees,
Exactly.
it's not just us, it's all the employees of the village.
I mean,
From my understanding, it's for the elected officials, that insurance coverage is for the elected
It
officials.
says public officials.
Public
That's not
officials,
just the board.
DNO.
Otherwise, it would say elected officials.
Okay.
It's public, so it's anybody that works for the village, doesn't work for the village.
Okay, proceed, trustee.
So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the insurance liability renewals, which total $230,626, of which a deposit of $36,370.40 is required at the time of renewal, leaving the remaining balance of $194,255.60 to be placed on a commercial premium finance agreement that is financed with First Insurance Funding at the rate of 5.070% for 10 monthly payments of $19,879.82, and the authorization of the village clerk to sign said insurance renewal and agreement. And I don't think I need to list them all again, is that okay?
No, that's,
Do I need to list them all again separate?
No, no.
I did it once, so we're good.
You did it once, you're good.
And I did the amount, so we're good?
And so you're making a motion, trustee Cap?
Yes, sir.
So there's a motion on the floor by trustee Cap to approve the, insurance liability awards of $230,626, so we need a second, please.
Second.
Second by trustee Richardson, will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap,
Yes?
trustee Bonner,
Abstain?
trustee Greer,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
trustee Claybrook.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed, and thank you for taking care of the village business. I mean, it has to be taken care of.
One more. One more turn.
Number three, we
Number
don't
three,
have-
trustee
we don't
Cap.
have public department.
One more
This is-
trustee.
This is Lincoln's County.
Yeah.
And this is police, and that's all we have. We don't have, that's all the boards, we don't have water department.
You have one more, Cap.
One more,
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion of, consideration of and taking action on authorizing the payment of this month's bills when funds become available. I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment of this month's bills.
There's a motion on the floor by trustee Cap, we need a second to pay the bills as the funds become available.
What's the total of this month's bills?
but it's, probably too early in the month to determine that.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't have a running.
okay, thank you.
We need a second on that, please.
Second.
The motion on the floor by trustee Cap, a second by trustee Richardson. Will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap?
Yes.
Trustee Bonner?
Abstain.
Trustee Greer?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Claybrook?
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed. I wish abstaining could get us out of paying them anymore.
You don't even know what you're paying.
Public utilities, trustee Richardson, oh, we know what we're paying.
Good evening, everybody, and
Good
I'd like to
evening.
wish
Good evening.
everyone a happy new year.
Thank you.
The sewer project on 141st and Saginaw is completed, and next year we will be excavating the street and resurfacing it. Also, in the next month or two, we're gonna have Cedar come back out, and I'm gonna also have Cubs come back out, and we have a presentation from NICOR. So next board meeting, I will have the dates available for those three. And last, on January 21st, at the South Suburban College, there's gonna be a Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. The doors will open up at 9 a.m. and the program begins at 10 a.m. That's it for me, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, trustee Richardson. Park and Recreation, trustee Bonner.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, a lot of new programs are starting right now this week. Pom-poms are available from 8-year-olds to 12-year-olds. That's on Tuesdays. The cost is $30. Starting now at Sandridge from 6 p. to 6:50 p.m. Boxing is starting now, Wednesdays, for 4 to 12-year-olds. The cost is $30. Swim lessons, 4 to adult, on Saturdays. The cost is $30 at Sandridge. And during the month of January, all memberships are 10% off. Every first Saturday of every month, there's open swim at Sandridge from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And the daddy-daughter dance is coming up February 2nd. It's $25 per couple and $5 for each additional daughter. $5 for each additional daughter for the daddy-daughter dance. And that includes dinner on February 2nd. And that's it for my report.
All right, thank you. You said the first Saturday is open swim every month?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Trustee Bonner, do you have more of those, the catalogs for the winter?
I'll locate some, yes.
Is there a fee for the open swim?
No,
Or do you have to be a member?
it's free.
No, there is
Oh,
$3.
go ahead. $3. Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
It's $6 if you don't know how to swim, right?
We got like 5 lifeguards on duty, so you're all right. It's 4-foot pool.
Y'all, any, presentation or petitions? Is there any communication or memorials? Well, I would like to say, I'll ask for a moment of silence for Miss Joan O'Bannon. She passed away on December 15th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and I would also like to ask for a moment of silence from Miss Dorothy Deloney, and also for Leon Duncan's mother, but she does not live in Burnham. Okay, thank you. Is there any unfinished business? Under new business, would you take that, trustee Greer?
Discussion of, reconsideration of and taking action to adopt or not to adopt on the amended schedule of 2019 regular board meeting of the president and the board of trustees of the village of Burnham, Cook County, Illinois.
Are there any questions from the board on that? Okay, proceed, trustee Greer.
I make a motion to amend the schedule of the 2019 regular board meetings of the president and the board of trustees of the village of Burnham, Cook County, Illinois.
Okay, so trustee Greer has a motion to adopt and to amend the schedule of the regular board meeting for this year. Could we have a second, please?
Second.
And second by trustee Claybrook. Will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap,
Yes.
trustee Bonner,
Yes.
trustee Greer,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
trustee Claybrook.
Yes.
Motion passed. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting for tonight.
We have a motion on the floor by trustee Bonner. Can we have a second?
Second.
Will the clerk take the roll?
Trustee Cap,
Yes.
trustee Bonner,
Yes.
trustee Greer,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
trustee Claybrook.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, everybody.